Today we are rating every single console that I own. And don't mind the eye injury. Something happened. Yeah. We're gonna go from the oldest to the newest. So we're gonna start off with the Nintendo 3DS. There's a little bit of a story with this. Why is this so girly? It's because I had a Nintendo 3DS. I lost mine, so I'm just gonna have to use my sister because I did have one. And this console was pretty much the start for Nintendo. When they launched this thing, they went boom, they went crazy. So let's turn it on. So it also introduced the finger buttons. You can see there's a game cartridge holder here, which right now my sister has in Mario Kart 7, aka one of my favorite games that I've ever played on a Nintendo 3DS. So let's open it up and let's turn it on. There's a power button right there, so let's go ahead and hold it down. And then the blue light's flashing, which means that it's on. So this thing is sick. It is a very, very cool console. Look, there's a game cartridge down there. And it was also the start to joysticks. Right here you can see there is a gray joystick, and then there's a D-pad. And then there are 4 buttons, kind of just like a PlayStation. And can I tell you something really quick? You see, this is 2D. And then with this ledge right here, it could become 3D. It might not look 3D to you, but when you turn it down, it looks like it's popping out of you. This was I think the first console who did, like 3D where everything's popping out of you. I think this was the first console that they made that did that. And so this is very cool. So I'm rating everything. This thing used to give me, so this is childhood memories, right? When I was like 4, 5, 6, I used to play this thing all the time. And it was very fun. So I'm going to give it a solid 6 out of 10. There's so much better consoles than this, but it's still just such a good console. Moving on to the next. It might seem highly despicable, but the next newest thing that I have after the Nintendo 3DS is just the classic Nintendo Switch. Now this thing was so cool when I first got it. This thing is sick. It's got the screen, 2 joysticks on each side, and 2 sets of 4 buttons. And this thing just went crazy. At the top you can see this is the place where you hold your game cartridges or your games. Press down and it pops right out for you. Currently I have in this Marvel game. This thing is so fun. Honestly, all the days and weeks that I've had it, I started getting bored of playing this thing. So then I kind of moved on to PlayStation. But this thing is still sick. And I have a bunch of games for it, which are not in here. But I do have a bunch of games for it. And see, there's a power button to the right. Just turn it on, and then boom. Currently, it's low battery. Are you serious? Why now? But this thing is sick. It also has 2 sets of 2 top buttons. So this thing is kind of a handheld, and it also comes with a connector, so you can connect it to the TV and play from your TV. But this thing used to be a classic gaming device. This thing was sick. The Nintendo Switch hit different for me. This thing is sick. I'm probably going to play it today. Probably. Because I just feel like playing all my consoles today. So, next. Actually, wait, I forgot to rate it. This thing, at the beginning, 9 out of 10. Easily. But now that it's kind of died down for me personally, with me playing it, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This thing is still sick. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, actually. But this thing is still sick. Moving on to the next. Now this next console is something that you probably wouldn't expect would be a console. I don't think anyone really knows much about this console, but it's called a Raspberry Pi. So let's go ahead and see it. Here it is. This is a Raspberry Pi. You can see in there, there's a nice little circuit. There's a computer in there. There's a fan. Currently we've connected a PlayStation controller to it. And look, it's on. This thing is sick. So here it is in full action. So why I've been super excited about this console is this is the key. You don't have to go to an arcade, but it is good to go to the classic arcade and go play arcade games. But you see we have the Virtual Boy, the Sinclair. This thing has 12,004 games on it throughout many different consoles. These are all the arcade games. Favorites: Light Gun, 3DO, Amiga, Atari 2600, Atari 5200, Atari 7800 Lynx, Thomas Wave, Channel F, ColecoVision, Commodore 64, Daphne, Family Computer Disk System, Game & Watch, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Intellivision, MSX, MXX2, Neo Geo Pocket, Neo Geo Pocket Color, Nintendo 64, Nintendo DS, Nintendo Entertainment System, Odyssey 2, Beats of Rage Open, TurboGrafx CD, ports, screenshots, Sega 32X, Sega, Dreamcast, Game Gear, the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Naomi, Sega Saturn, Sega 1000, PlayStation Portable, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Graphics, Vectrex, and then we're back to the Virtual Boy. So that is the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is kind of like, it's the key to all classic arcade games. If I could choose from the classic arcade games, or the classic games and the newer games, I would choose the classic games. And the Raspberry Pi is technically just a giant piece of storage for it. We have it all the way to the original Game & Watch. Game & Watch is one of the oldest consoles, or the first consoles ever created. They made 60 different Game & Watches, with each of them having one game on it. We have all of them. Well, not all of them, with 4 short. We even have Daphne, the 2 story games, Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. So this Raspberry Pi is sick. I usually come on here every day to just play a bunch of classic games. So, yeah, that's what it's all about. For this one, I would rate it a 10 out of 10 because you could never get bored. There are thousands of games on here, so you could never get bored. That is the Raspberry Pi. So we all know the Raspberry Pi is cool. It has a bunch of classic games. But as I said that I took the old games before the new games, now we're going into the new games with the PlayStation 4. The classic PlayStation 4. And next up, you have the classic PlayStation 4. You have all these games. This console, it's newer. It's nothing compared to the PS5. A PS5 just has better graphics, but a PlayStation 4 is still a legendary console. It's amazing. So I really just still enjoy playing this. I play this every single day. It's a classic console with all the classic games. Not all the classic games, but all of the games. So I really like this console. This console is an easy 10 out of 10. This thing is just perfect. All these games are all fun to play. The graphics are amazing. The controller is sick. 4 buttons, D-pad, 2 joysticks. This and then this button. Home here, this button, and then the power button. And then it also has a headphone jack, and then the plug is right there. So yeah, it's an easy 10 out of 10 because it's the classic PlayStation. Moving on, and for the final console one of my personal favorites, the Oculus Quest 2. Alright, the second to last console is the Oculus Quest 2. This is a huge step up from the Virtual Boy. They have these two controllers. This is so cool. Every day I come in and enjoy playing the Oculus Quest 2. So on each controller, they have a joystick and two buttons that are very well reacted. There's also an options button right here, and then you could also use the joystick as a button. Other one is the exact same thing except it has the Oculus button, so this is cool. And over here we have the charging dock, and then here we have the power button, and we have a bunch of games on here. And when you put it on, you look like a... Whoa. There has been so much danger with this, you know, like running into things, but that was with the Oculus Quest 1. There's now boundaries. With the Oculus Quest 2, there's boundaries. You got to create a boundary, and if you get near the end of your boundary, it lights up. So then you know not to get out of your boundary, because then you know you're going to hit something. So Oculus Quest 2 has become a lot more safer than the Oculus Quest 1 because of the boundaries. But this is just such a revolutionary console. This is insane. Every day I come on. Let's give this a 10.5 out of 10 because this is so cool, so sick. You can have a bunch of games on here, and all the games are cool. They work smoothly. The graphics are pretty good, and this is insane. So, I love this console. Every day, 10.5 out of 10. Even though it's above 10, it can, because this is literally the best console that I've probably ever put my hands on. So yeah, on to our next and last console. Okay, I changed locations, and the final console is the PC. This is up in my room, but this PC is insane. A bunch of gigabytes of RAM. Look at those fans, an incredible graphics card, and incredible memory storage. This thing is sick. And then up here, we have the monitor, the keyboard, and the mouse. This is one of the best consoles that I've ever had in my entire life. It's sick. It's a sick setup. I'm telling you right now, this thing comes with 456 gigabytes of memory. I've literally only used 244 for all of these games. We have Warzone, GeForce, we have Warzone, Rocket League, Divine Knockout, Riot Client, League of Legends, Overwatch, Fortnite, Roblox Player, OBS Studio, Valorant, Wondershare, Vilmore 2, Pinball FX. So all these games for 244 gigabytes. And I think this is just insane. I get to play video games in my room. That's kind of a dream. And it's kind of also having a TV. Like, I can turn on YouTube, play YouTube, and lay on my bed and look at TV or the monitors. It's technically a TV. You can also download Disney Plus, watch movies. So it's technically a TV in your room, especially because I have a big monitor. This is probably insane. This is the start of our show. This is the finale. I know I had to make the PC the finale because it's probably the best console in here. So yeah, sick guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I forgot to rate it 10 out of 10 easily. All of my consoles, I only had one that was a 6 out of 10, which that was a 3DS. Other ones I had a 9, I think, a 10. And then a 10.5, and then another 10. So, as you can see, a lot of my consoles that I own, I love. And one of them is the PC. I can't even say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm your boy, SportsBeast97. For more videos, just hit that subscribe button for more. See you guys later. God bless you.